be solving one of the most popular problems in problem solving. This problem you might find it probably in every problem solving platform. So it's called two-sum, and you might really like we need to make it more clear in order to that we can solve this kind of problem. So let's say we have an array, we'll give it the name nums, and let's say this array will contain 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, and 43, any random combination of numbers. It really doesn't matter. Let's talk about that we have a target which will give it the name target and a value 54. So in this context, we have 54 here, and we need to find two numbers that when we add them together, they give us a result of 54. So when you're going to search over every number in this array, we're just going to find that we can find this in the last two elements, 11 and 43, which would give us this target. But what if we're not lucky and we cannot find this pair? So we're going to talk about that we need to print a message to the user that we're not finding this pair. So we're just going to say no pair found. So this is simply the problem, and it's one of it's really pretty simple problem. You don't really have to worry about this kind of problems. So let's say, as we said before, that we need an array of numbers. So we're going to declare this array, we're giving it the name nums, and the same numbers we're going to use it. So let's say 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, and 43. And we're going also to have this variable target, which will be 54. And this in this problem, I'm going to use there is two main popular methods people talk about, which are the brute force and the dictionary method, or hash table method. So what is the difference between these two methods? Actually, the main difference, something that you really need always to consider when you're doing a problem, is that the time complexity. In the hash table method or the dictionary method, which are by the way the same method, it has less time complexity, and this is what we're really looking for. We're not looking for an easier solution or a more simple solution like in brute force. We're just looking for how we can reach the least time complexity and the least computation power. We're talking in big scale in this case, but yeah, this is what you really need to consider. So that's why we're going to make the dictionary. So let's just uh, let's just make it more obvious how we going to use this, how we going to use the dictionary. So let's say we have this dictionary which will contain string and the integer, and what actually the dictionary do is that we can store a key and a value with each other, which would give really a great privilege in this code, in this problem. So let's give it the name of student. Let's say like in C sharp, dictionary and so many other tools can be treated as an object. So in order we can use this object, we need to make a new instance, and then we're done with declaring the dictionary. So what we can really do with the dictionary, let's say we have a student, okay, we're using our dictionary, and let's say our student name is Stacy, okay, and she has 19 years old. The same goes with Ted, who has 22 years old. Great. So let's say we need to manipulate this kind of data. So let's say we're going to print Stacy's age. Okay, and we're just going to say Stacy's age is student. We're just calling for the real dictionary here, Stacy. And let's print this out and see what will we get. So we got Stacy's age is 19. So in case we need to know Ted's age also, we're going to do the same step, and then we're going to see that we also got Ted's age, which is 22. So that's great. That's great. So that's why we're using a dictionary. And in our problem, we need to store a value and an index, so that we're done with the problem. So that's why we're going to use a dictionary. So let's go for it, and just delete this and go back for our problem. And let's say we have a dictionary. We actually going to print an answer like 54. So we're going to say that the indices of the two elements we're looking for are, as you know, that we start from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to say indices are 4 and 5. That's why we're going to store a value and the index at the same time. So both of them are integers. So great. And let's give it the name of my dictionary. Well, again, we're going to use the new, as we talked about before, and then we're done declaring our dictionary. So what will be the next step? The next step is going to be declaring our for loop. So for integer I equals 0, and I will be less than nums.length, and that's a great way where we can use the length of the real array inside our for loop. It's a method, and it's really helpful. So okay, we're exceeding I by 1 in every iteration, and this is where it comes the core of the problem, where we're going to declare another variable. We'll give it the name need, and it's going to be equal to target, which is 54 minus nums I. So what this actually say is that we have an array, we have a variable which has the name need, and this need is about 54 and minus nums I, which will be changing in every loop. So I is going to be 0 in the first loop, which is 2, so 54 minus 2, which is going to be 51, and we're going to look for need inside this array, which is 51. Then we're going to find that we cannot find it here, so we're going to make it again, and 54 minus 3, 54 minus 4, then we're going to find that 54 minus 11 gives us 43. Then we're done when we found 43 in the last element. So we are great. So how we are able to do that, we actually need to talk about why did we use a dictionary here. So we're going to say my dictionary, which is a nums I as this index, will be equal to I. So this is where actually the core of the code works, where we did store the index and the value of the number with each other, so that we're able to store them inside the dictionary, where we can print them after that. So we're so done here. But there's also another step we're going to talk about, is another if condition, where it's going to ask a question. So the question of this if condition is going to be, does my dictionary, does this array contains the number I'm looking for or not? Wait, contains, this is a method where we're going to look for need. So in our context, we're going to say, okay, 54 minus 11 is 43. So does my dictionary contain 43? Where we actually stored it inside I, remember? So yeah, it's going to have 43. Then yeah, happy ending, we find 43. So we're going to print it out. So we're going to say console.writeLine and then we're going to say indices. Wait, we need just to indices, and then we are saying my dictionary need, which is the index of need, where we actually stored it in the first place, and I. Then we're so okay here, and don't forget to add a return, so that the function ends when we found our two indices, which is my dictionary need, where we are looking for in the first place, and I, where it will be the other index of the pair of the other index of the index of the other pair. So we're so great now. But let's not forget about the exception we've talked about, where we actually said in the beginning that we need also to make exception in case we have a bad ending, we cannot find our pair. So outside our for loop, we're going to print console.writeLine no pair found. So I guess guys, we're so done here. Just test the code and see if it's really working. So yeah, we got indices 4 and 5, which is our 0 1, which are 0 1 2 3 4 and 5. But let's check also the other condition where we cannot find a number. So let's say 1 2 5. There is no two combination of number here that can give us 1 2 5. So let's look for it, and no pair found. So that's when you know that your code is working. And thank you for watching.